The hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage. The intracerebral hemorrhage accounts for 10% of all strokes. This is 10% of all stroke. In these hemorrhagic patients, 35 to 45% of these patients die within the first month. 35% to 45% of these patients die within the first month of hemorrhage. The hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage. The hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage usually results from spontaneous rupture of small penetrating arteries. Due to spontaneous rupture of small penetrating arteries. Spontaneous rupture of small penetrating arteries. The hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage results from the spontaneous rupture of the small penetrating arteries of the brain. The most common sites of the rupture are the basal ganglia. Most common sites of the rupture is the basal ganglia, especially the putamen. The putamen is the most common site for the rupture. Other areas may be thalamus, cerebellum, and pons. Other areas may be thalamus, cerebellum, and pons. These small arteries of the brain are seen most prone to the hypertensive induced vascular injury. These smaller arteries that is range from 30 to 100 micrometer in diameter. These are smaller arteries range from 30 to 100 micrometer in diameter. These are most prone to hypertensive induced vascular injury. These are mostly induced to hypertensive vascular injury because these are the smaller arteries and they are mostly induced to vascular injury due to hypertension. The hemorrhage may be small or large. The clot may form at the adjacent tissue and causing the herniation and death. These hemorrhage may be small. These hemorrhage may be small or may be large and they cause herniation of the adjacent tissue and cause death. The most hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage initially develop over 30 to 90 minutes. The symptom initially develop over 30 to 90 minutes. Within 30 to 90 minutes, this hemorrhage develops. When rupture occurs after 30 to 90 minutes, the hypertensive intracerebral hemorrhage develops. After the rupture of these smaller arteries. Within 48 hours, the macrophages begin to phagocytose the hemorrhage. Within 48 hours, the macrophages phagocytose these hemorrhage. After 1 to 6 months, the hemorrhage is generally seen like a slit-like cavity lined with a glial scars and hemosiderin-laden macrophages. After 1 to 6 months of the hemorrhage, these hemorrhagic areas are seen as a slit-like scar. And these slit-like scar are lined with a glial scar and these hemosiderin-laden macrophages. There is hemosiderin-laden macrophages. Hemosiderin-laden macrophages are also present within after 1 to 6 months of the intracranial hemorrhage. Now we discuss the clinical features of intracranial hemorrhage. Clinical features of the intracranial hemorrhage. The intracranial hemorrhage generally presents as abrupt onset of focal neurological deficits. There is focal neurological deficits. Abrupt onset onset of focal neurological deficits are present. These focal neurological deficits worsen over 30 to 90 minutes. These are worsen 30 to 90 minutes. These are focal neurological deficits are worsen. And these focal neurological deficits are associated with a diminishing the level of consciousness and signs of increased intracranial pressure, as headache and vomiting. These symptoms of the focal neurological deficits is associated with diminished level of consciousness. Decrease and diminish the level of consciousness. Consciousness. The consciousness levels are decreased, and there is vomiting and headache. Vomiting and headache. Vomiting. There is vomiting and headache, and these consciousness levels are progressively decreases. The symptoms of intracranial hemorrhage are also present. The symptom of intracranial hemorrhage is headache and vomiting. The putamen is the most common site for the hypertensive hemorrhage, and the adjacent internal capsule is usually damaged. The putamen, the putamen is the most common site, of intracranial hemorrhage, and the adjacent internal capsule may be damaged. Internal capsule may be damaged. So the putamen is the most common site for the hypertensive hemorrhage, and the adjacent internal capsule is usually damaged. The contralateral hemiparesis is a sentinel sign. Contralateral hemiparesis. The contralateral hemiparesis is the sentinel sign for intracerebral hemorrhage. Contralateral hemiparesis is the sentinel sign of intracerebral hemorrhage. That is contralateral hemiparesis is the sentinel signs for the intracerebral hemorrhage. When the symptoms are mild, the face sags on one side. Face sag on one side. When the symptoms are mild of the intracerebral hemorrhage, when the symptom is mild, the face sag on the one side. The face sag on the one side within 5 to 30 minutes of the intracerebral hemorrhage. Within the 5 to 30 minutes of intracerebral hemorrhage, the face sags on one side. The speech becomes slurred, and the arms and legs weakness occurs. Arms and legs weakness occur, and speech becomes slurred. When the hemorrhage are large, drowsiness gives way to stupor, as a sign of the upper brainstem compression appear. When the hemorrhage are large, the drowsiness gives way to stupor. When the hemorrhage are large hemorrhage, the drowsiness gives way to stupor. Is a sign of the upper brainstem compression appear. This is a sign of upper brainstem compression. Upper brainstem compression. Sign of upper brainstem compression appears. And there is deep, irregular, or intermittent, dilated, and fixed ipsilateral pupil. There is intermittent, irregular, and dilated, fixed. There may be intermittent, dilating, fixed. There is maybe intermittent or dilating or fixed ipsilateral pupil. Fixed or ipsilateral pupil. The pupil may be, in this case, the pupil may be intermittent or intermittent dilating, fixed or epicyclical. Fixed pupils are there in the sign.